Toei Animation earns backlash after refusing labor talks with LGBTQ union rep. Toei Animation has found itself in hot water with fans around the globe after a controversial labor dispute. The company is one of the biggest animation brands in Japan and handles series like Dragon Ball and One Piece. Yeah, that's pretty big. However, its global rep has taken a hit after Yahoo News reported on Toei's refusal to do labor negotiations with a local union. The refusal was sent forward as Toei accused the union's rep of using a false name after being informed the spokesperson went by a name that better suited their gender identity. Ooh, I don't know about that one. Accuse the union's rep of using a false name. Can you imagine, showing up to a union rep and the other person's like, your name's not Sally, you fucking liar. Like, wait, what does this even have to do with the union negotiations? According to Anime News Network, the rep was accused of using a quote-unquote false name during labor negotiations. The union rep identifies as X-gender, that's a new one, meaning they are neither male nor female, so they do not go by their birth name. In light of this revelation, Toei sent the union a letter which dead names the rep and accuses them of majorly damaging the relationship of trust between Toei Animation and the labor union. Okay, this is some grade A bullshit. What? You kidding me? Damaging the relationship of trust for sending a fucking non-binary person? X-gender is non-binary in Japan? Oh, okay, I wasn't familiar with the term. For sending a non-binary person to lead a union discussion, majorly damaging the relationship of trust. This isn't just regular transphobia, okay? This is like, you have dishonored our company by sending forward a non-binary union rep. Like this is another level. This is beyond that. Japan sterilizes trans people? Yeah, I would say so. Well, Japan doesn't have a great relationship with LGBTQ shit anyway. The rep has since responded to the degrading letter by saying their name has no merit in their negotiations with Toei. This is what I mean when I say bigotry is irrational. In what universe is there any relationship between the union representative having an assumed name, or like a, not assumed name, like a new name, they get their name changed, and damaging trust? It's irrational. The union is representing a former unit director at the animation studio who says they were unfairly demoted. The union worker says the case at hand regards the animator, and their gender identity has no part in the discussion. In the first place, there are many married people who work under an alias, and the name I use for collective bargaining has nothing to do with the name on my family registry, the union rep told Yahoo. For me, just looking at my family registry name is painful. To be on the receiving end of such a discriminating act by the company makes me feel disappointment, sadness, and pain. The union representative went on to say several attempts were made to work with Toei Animation, but it did not work. The spokesperson said they even went to the studio itself and were chased away by a security guard before Toei's controversial letter was sent. Currently, no settlement has been made between the studio and the union regarding the unit director's complaint, and a petition has been started on the employee's behalf to raise awareness on the issue. Jesus Christ. Like I said, bigotry is irrational. I mean, at the end of the day, transphobes or whatever will come up with every excuse in the book for why they do what they do, why they believe what they believe, but then you have this shit, like chasing away union reps and saying it's damaged business relationships because their name is not the same name as their birth certificate. What the fuck does that even mean? There's probably a little bit of like a cultural value difference here. I know, for example, that the Japanese are pretty transphobic, and also that they have they ascribe more importance to like family name than we do. But that doesn't justify shit. I mean, like. I don't like, okay, the Japanese have like a little bit more cultural emphasis placed on the family name. Therefore, I refuse to deal with this union rep who has disgraced this discussion by deigning to show up with the chosen. Like, what? Do people not change their names in Japan? I'm confident they do. I know that's a thing they do. It's yeah, ridiculous. Utterly fucking irrational. Japan compelled sterilization of transgender people, reform legal procedure for gender recognition. Japan's government should stop forcing trans people to be surgically sterilized if they want legal recognition of their gender identity. Yeah, I agree. Not really much else to get into for that one, is there? Do we need to? I feel like the first line kind of sells the whole argument to begin with. You know what I mean? Like, all right, we did it. Nice. We God. Vosh, it's actually super hard to change your given name in Japan, and your family name can only change if you're a woman and get married to a man? Jesus. Well, fuck them. Not the Japanese. The company, I mean. No, you know what? Fuck the Japanese, too. Anime is garbage, except for the ones that I like. And even the ones I like are probably garbage, too. Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, clip me. Yeah, take me. Take me to downtown. Do it. You have no problem saying fuck the British because they're transphobic, but then the Japanese do it and you people, oh, no, you can't do that. You can't say that about the Japanese, man. That's racist. You know what I say? There's nothing racist about fighting transphobia. Dab. Dab if you're with me. Waiting on the dabs. There we go. Bring them in. There we go. Dab it. Yeah. There we go. Dab for trans rights. That's what I'm talking about. In all seriousness, I hope this gets more media attention than it already is. Unfortunately, I don't know what the external pressure would be. The Japanese population doesn't seem to be very progressive on trans issues from what I've seen, and I know that the foreign market that consumes anime, it's actually really weird, dude. Anime has such like a... I feel like there aren't any normies who watch anime. Anime is consumed, in the West, I mean, either exclusively by like far to center right shit weasels who don't shower, or anime catgirl trans girls. And that's it. Those are the two, that's completely split down the middle, and those are the two communities there. I don't want to stereotype though, because you know, I'm sure there are plenty here. Actually, can we get polling on this? Hold on. Japan polling trans rights. Can we get some kind of Japan? Oh, well, this seems nice. Japan, introduce LGBT Equality Act before the Olympics. 116 groups urge Prime Minister Suga to take action. Should commit to introducing a law to protect all against discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation and gender identity. But didn't the Olympics get canceled? So I guess the impetus is no longer necessarily there. Oh, no, wait. This is after the Olympics were postponed. Okay, yeah. Japan is a one-party state with a far-right party. I'm not that familiar with the political situation in Japan. Hold on. Public support of transgender rights, a 23-country survey. Well, hold on now. Can we get Japan specifically in here? In all 23 countries, including Japan, majorities of survey respondents supported important transgender rights. Well, that's nice. Can I see it? For can it, will you let me look specifically at the results in Japan? Toss a coin to your streamer. Oh, viewers of plenty. Okay. Does this mean Japan might ease up on trans people? I really care about support for trans rights in large part because I feel like it's a really good litmus test for progressivism and other issues. Generally speaking, it seems like the big discourse right now is around trans rights because at least in America, we kind of won the gay marriage thing. Like we seem to have won that. So even though trans people are a relatively small proportion of the population, that doesn't mean they're insignificant at all, but they're relatively small compared to other demographics. I think that this is a really, really pivotal issue to focus on because it's kind of the linchpin in a broader movement towards progressive, you know, politicization. I feel like you could have worded that better. Did I word that inarticulately? I think that's okay. Hold on. I have the full report document here. Pakistan has trans rights, not a foolproof litmus test. No, it's not foolproof at all. Okay, hold on. We're looking at, oh, sorry. We're looking at anything that has Japan in it. Of the 22 countries surveyed online, 16 yield results that are balanced to reflect the general population, including Japan. Majority support for unrestricted ability to change gender markers was found only in Spain. Only in Spain. Sizable minorities of participants in India and Japan supported requiring a doctor's approval prior to changing ID. 28.2% for Japan. A majority of respondents from 15 countries agreed trans people should be allowed to use the restroom associated with their gender identity. Respondents from Spain, okay, I guess Spain is based, Argentina and India, interesting, were most supportive. In Brazil and the United States of America, where we're actually below 50%, Poland, South Korea, Hungary, and Japan, more respondents agreed with allowing trans people to use the restroom associated with their gender as compared to the number of people who disagreed. So in Japan, at the very least, there are more people who do believe that trans bathroom rights should be good than there are people who believe the opposite. There are many people who are undecided, I suppose. Percent of respondents reporting having transgender friends and family by country. 3% in Japan. Apparently, Mexico is at 25.7%. What? Percent of respondents reporting to have trans friends and family by country. Brazil, 25.9. Mexico, 25.7. South Africa, 19.8. What's the United States at? Is it not here? 15.7%. The confidence interval is huge. That's true. The confidence interval here is pretty big, but still, that's a very large number. It's interesting. I wonder why that is. What would lead South Africa to have so much higher than like Spain? Spain apparently has a pretty progressive, larger families. Ooh, wait, that's actually a really good explanation. Could be the very large familial and friend network size in Latin America. Yeah, because all Americans are white people who kill themselves with opium in the suburbs, whereas in like Brazil and Mexico, they have much, much more robust social cultures. That's interesting. That was a bit reductive on my part, but I think that's interesting. Support for gender change by country. Okay. And in Japan, we have strongly agree at 20% about. That's pretty good. Somewhat at 36%. Okay, so the total agree is about 56%. That's nice. And then disagree, we have only 4% strongly disagree. That's pretty awesome for Japan. 13.7 somewhat disagree, and 26.6% don't know. It looks like Japan's population is more progressive than their government is. It's pretty good. Russia seems to be the least LGBT-friendly country we keep seeing on this list, and even in Russia, between strongly and somewhat agree, we get higher than 50%. Argentina has 63.7% strongly agree. What the fuck? This is actually really interesting. Argentina has an incredibly high proportion. If we go down, South Korea has few people who strongly agree, but a lot of people who somewhat agree. What about Great Britain? Even Great Britain actually has more than the United States. The US is combined about 72% in favor of gender change, whereas Great Britain is about, yeah, a couple percentage points higher than that. Maybe we're TERF continent. Huh. Japan has a very large percentage of undecided participants compared to other countries. That's true, actually. That's very true. Look, in Japan, their undecided is at 26.6%. I think that's the highest of anyone here. Every other country has fewer people who are undecided. In India, it's only 4.4% who are undecided, which is pretty interesting. In the United States, it's 9.6%. Should note this report is from 2016. Yeah, which means that in all likelihood, it would be more progressive today, would it not? Okay. Support for gender change on government identification documents by country. Okay, and then we have all these numbers here. Yes, but with no additional restrictions, for which Argentina is again just killing it over here. Yes, but only with a doctor's approval. Yes, but only after surgery so their body matches their identity. Ooh, the trans medicalist take. Belgium and South Korea seem to be in favor of that one. Yes, but only with approval from a government official. And then we have no matter what. And that's like the ultimate rejection, isn't it? No matter what, of which the highest proportion is South Africa and the United States. Right. In Japan, though, only 6.1% say no matter what. And 21% say they don't know. Interesting. The Japanese population seems really undecided on this. Then we have support for discrimination protection by country, with 27.7% strongly agree that we need that, and then 34.1% strongly agree. Again, Argentina is a... Dude, what is going on in Argentina? Argentina and Spain have been consistently killing it with this. Look, Spain's only just behind Argentina. And Sweden's almost at Argentina's level. Argentina and Spain are really pulling it out, you know? For people who strongly disagree and somewhat disagree, in Japan, that's only about 16.4% combined. Russia, that's about 40% combined. The United States is about 20% combined. Japan, by most metrics here, Japan seems to be more LGBT friendly than the United States. But the United States is more LGBT friendly in policy. You know what I'd be really interested in? On LGBT issues, how much each government lines up with the representative will of their population. Does that make sense? Like, what's the ratio of how much the population supports a position to how much it's reflected in the actual government policy? Support for adoption by country? For trans people, I assume? I assume trans people adopting. We're going to move through this a little more quickly because I need to read donos. Support for restroom access by current gender identity by country. For Japan, it's about 42% agree, about 29% disagree, and 29% don't know, which is the highest don't know of anywhere on the list. Japan! Oh, wow. Yeah, Russia, more than 50% say disagree with the restroom access. They want Buck Angel going into women's restrooms, I guess. Japan is really undecided on these issues. I want to see an update. Trans rights have come a long way in the past 5 years. I'd be very, 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 very interested in seeing how that goes. Hold on. Support for allowing transgender people to give birth by country? What? Wait, what do you mean allowing transgender people to give birth? What, if a trans man gets pregnant and what? They're just like, nope, they hold a gun to your head? What? Is this about sterilization? The trans government does sterilize people who transition. And again, Japan is at 29.1%. I don't know. What is going on with these people? That is crazy. Yeah, and every single one of these points, Japan has an anomalously high percentage of people who don't know, usually around a quarter of the country. That's really, really crazy. Yeah, quarter. About a quarter again, 25.6%. About a quarter again, 26.3%. It looks like about a quarter of the Japanese population just legitimately just doesn't care or doesn't know about this. Table X, factor score by country. Okay, so this is like overall rating a country on their... so this is like an aggregate, like how trans positive is the country. With Spain, Sweden, and Argentina at number 1. Canada is good. Great Britain is actually in 6th place, not that far behind, though Spain is far and away the top. The US is significantly behind Great Britain. The US is almost as far behind Great Britain as Great Britain is from Sweden. And then you have India, Mexico, Brazil, France, South Africa, Italy, Japan. And below Japan, we have Turkey, China, Peru, Hungary, Poland, South Korea, and Russia. Not countries that I would want to emulate. with regards to LGBT rights, you know? And Russia is easily the lowest in the pack. Look, Russia is way down there. Look at that, more than 6 points below South Korea. The largest gap that we see in the entire chart, actually, from its nearest neighbor. Anyway, interesting. Yeah, sure. Bring him in. Anyway, we learned a lot today, didn't we? I'd love to see an updated version of that study. Stuff like this is really, really, really important. So often we find... This isn't good because Artemy's transphobic, so it's not good bait for the segment, but, you know, that's okay. We forgive you for being a bad baby. Anyway, it's interesting because often we act as though the fight for trans rights is about convincing people to be more progressive, but sometimes it feels like it's just about getting the government to catch up to how progressive the population already is. You know? Does that make sense?